Hi, good afternoon, it's Gene from Avstar Observatory. Very warm welcome to you all. Well, that was unexpected. 22,000 plus views on the video I did the last time. Unbelievable. But what is more unbelievable is the time that we're in right now. Not just because of the pole shift, not just because we're returning back into a glacial period. Not just because, for the last 3 and nearly 4 solar cycles, in concession, there has been a drop-off on solar activity, which is not good for us, doesn't inflate the heliosphere, let's put it that way, and that wouldn't be a bad thing, would it, right now, when the Earth's magnetosphere, our primary shield, is weakening, already weakened to 20%. We have a low solar output in concessions of the last 4 solar cycles, which shrinks our heliosphere, allows more galactic and outer galactic radiation inbound to our solar system and straight into our weakened heliosphere. These are the things that are not being talked by mainstream organisations, scientific organisations that should be talking about it. Where are the climatologists? Why aren't they talking about the jet streams? I am not surprised people think along the terms of conspiracy theorists. So let's face it, when you look at conspiracy theorists these days, they do have a lot of truth. I'm not talking about the way out there ideas. But let's just look what's happened recently. You've got governments coming out around the world telling us that UFOs are real. This is coming from governments, from the Pentagon, from the British government declassifying, MI5 records that go back 40, 50 years. Under the Freedom of Information Act, you can access this data. A lot of it still is classified. That's the day and age that we live in. It shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody. Anybody that lives in a world that thinks there is nothing else out there in our immense, massive universe, and that we're the only ones, are delusional. These are the same people that, don't understand. They're in a room of 1 million people, all suggesting that, what they're doing is right, and there's this one individual in that room that thinks that they're right and everybody else is wrong. Almost on a narcissistic level. Shouldn't come as a surprise. What should be more to the point, the question is, what the hell they're doing here? Why are they here? Why haven't they intervened? Why haven't they stopped the wars going on and this, that and the other? Well, there must be a rule or a law that they're abiding by. Maybe they have learned something that the majority of us on this earth have failed to even acknowledge. I'm going to run this video. It's probably going to be a little bit out of sync, but the whole point of doing today's video is to say, we are there, guys. We are now at 40 degrees. The magnetic north poles on our planet have migrated to 40 degrees. And now my theory is going to be put to the test. But you know what? I'm not upset if it doesn't happen. But in support of my theory, I'll just mention that we talked about this date 3 years ago. And about 4 months ago, 5 months ago, a professor in California came out and said that the Earth's core was slowing down. That's exactly what we would expect to happen to the magneto that generates, or the dynamo that generates the magnetosphere, generates the magnetic north and south poles on our planet, or the dipoles. That's exactly what we would expect to happen right at this point in time. And it's not a coincidence that it is happening at the time we predict, almost to the month. Can you believe that? As you'll see in this experiment that's running at the top right hand screen, you'll see that when it gets to 40 degrees, it flips rapidly. And that's because, the dipole is going into the weak field lines. It's leaving the strong field lines, which allows a slow migration, as you can see, and goes into the weak field lines and flips. But to back it up a little bit more, in the next couple of days I'm going to find that video of these scientists taking that core sample out of the lava flow, and demonstrating that somewhere in between 40 and 45 degrees during this magnetic reversal that they are investigating, the Earth suddenly flipped. The Earth's poles suddenly flipped. We're not selling fear. We're not saying that everyone's going to die. And what we are saying is, don't be under the illusion that what has already happened and where we are right now is not dangerous enough. Put this into perspective. You are at the consultants and you are told the worst news that you could possibly hear. You have cancer. Stop the video for just a few minutes and think about that. Let that sink in. Because right now you're 20% more likely, wherever you live in this world, to be more closer to that reality. That doctor or that consultant telling you that information. Because we are at this current point in time between 20 and 25% already in a weakened magnetosphere that protects us against the harmful solar wind that carries the radiation from the sun, and also protects us from the harmful outer galactic and intergalactic radiation in the form of cosmic rays inbound into our upper atmosphere. Right now, our upper atmosphere is thinning, and NASA know this. They've done a video. It's on the website. You can go to the website, have a look in the Learning Centre, go down to the Mavin video. You'll see that they've even classified it as a term known as sputtering. This is where the Earth's upper atmosphere is getting stripped off because it has a low protective magnetospheric shield. This is happening. I want you to wake up to this, because this is happening as I speak right now. Our upper atmosphere has been thinning ever since that magnetosphere started to weaken at the 1900s, ago, over 120 years ago. That's when our magnetosphere started to weaken, and that is when our atmosphere started to become thinner and thinner, and for 120 years it has been doing that. If we had no magnetosphere protection, within 500 years there would not be an atmosphere on the planet. There you go, bringing it home for you. People need to get real. The reason why there's a tone today is because I don't think people take it serious. They are letting their children play out when the sun is at its highest point, and yet they have watched these videos. They know that they are 20-25% more likely to get cancer as a result of being out there. They're letting the kids play out there, and holy moly, not one bit of sun cream or sunblock on them children. Can you believe that people do such a thing to their children? It's not just their children. I've seen it. They're walking along the beach. No sunblock. Not just the children themselves. I just don't believe it. When they know the dangers, they are still putting their hands in the fire. It's like they've burnt one of the fingers already, but you know what? They're going back for more. They're putting the whole hand in the fire. That's the world in which we live in. It is really difficult for me to convince people to take some notice about what I'm saying, because this is scientifically backed up, by the way, even by the lamestream organisations out there like NASA, NOAA, ESA. They're saying the same as what I'm saying. They're just not saying it as loud as what I'm saying. But they know if they did, more people would pay attention to them because they're credible and well known. Who is the Mavstar Observatory in the grand context? It is crazy. You need to start paying attention. Out of the 100% of the people, the global people right now, 98% of them don't even know this is happening. And we can guess that maybe we have hit 2% that have either been, brought to the awareness by this channel or somewhere else. But even that 2% are not paying any attention. no attention whatsoever. You know, we're going to go down to the 0.00s if we're going to really refine the gold. Those people, even if the knowledge of this thing that is happening, are still allowing themselves and their children and all the family, loved ones and friends to go out there and experience, you know, a high dose of radiation because of the magnetosphere being 20 to 25% reduced already. Can you believe that these people are calling themselves human beings right now with intelligence? It is beyond me. Moving on. You know, someone in the comments section, and I do read a lot of the comments, and you know, it'd be impossible, as I've explained before, to answer them all, but a bush driver, he knows what I'm talking about. He said to me, can this extra cosmic rays and solar radiation be causing people to act aggressively? Well, I would point the finger at something more obvious than cosmic rays right now. I don't know one way or another. I know that cosmic rays causes cancer. It's causing cardiac arrhythmia. Whether it is affecting the mental capacity of people is just guesswork. You know, I don't know. I've not researched into that field, but what I will say is I think it's something more closer to the point. I went shopping this morning, and you know, a small block of cheese used to cost £1.75. Now you're paying £5.25 for that same block of cheese. And you can do this. You know what? You almost end up in hysterical laughter because it's almost unbelievable, the prices of stuff in the supermarket. There was loads of things I just walked past I wanted. I just wanted to have a look at the price, but I wanted them. You know, I just thought, it's not going on the list. You know, I'll just get what I need to. For one, I'm not paying these extortionate prices. For two, I can live without them. And for three, you know, there is no way I'm waxing these fat, greedy little gets pockets any more than what they need to be. You know, I don't understand why the staff that work in these supermarkets are putting up with these self-checkout tills. They need to be picked up and smashed on the floor. Do they not realise that if they don't say nothing to the management and get the management to say something to the area director and get the area director to talk to the local directors that run these companies, that enough is enough? Those machines are taking your jobs away, and you're sitting there at your cashier's, you know, till, only moments away from being replaced by one more of those tills. And you know, if that bush driver is asking the question, you know, can cosmic rays be causing some of the anger issues that are, you know, what I'm noticing is on a massive uptick. Let me tell you something, it's not just the bush driver. I've noticed it. Have you? It's everywhere. People are angry. And the reason why they're angry is because they're working as hard as they can for as little as they can get. It's no joke. Everything has gone up, more than double, apart from your salary. I'll make matters worse. You know, when there's a surplus of anything, it means that the price comes down. So we've got a technological advancement which is taking jobs away from the employment industry, yeah, across all ranges. That means people can't obtain or swap their labour for some money. But because of the surplus of people out there and being competitive, they are prepared to work for a little bit less, just so long as they're working and they're bringing in a salary, so that they're just marginally better off than the person on benefits. In some cases they're not, and you know it. They are prepared to do it. And this undercutting game goes right down to the very last chair in the musical chairs scenario. You know, the music stops, everyone goes for a chair, and every time there is one more chair whipped away. And that's the you know, that's a great analogy of what's actually taking place. And it's no wonder why people are angry. They've got short tempers, they've got no patience. Because like myself this morning in the supermarket, you know, we want things that we used to be able to afford and have the luxury of, that we can't know more, and yet we're working for that, for all the hours that is required from us, and we still can't make ends meet. You know what? I'm not surprised, and you can bet your bottom dollar this is going to accelerate and get much worse. You are going to see some crazy people out there, and you're going to hear crazy things being done by them. And to quote Gerald Salenti, when people lose everything, they lose it. Oh my God, couldn't be any closer to the truth. This is what we've all got to come and see. This is what's going to happen. And it's no wonder people are getting upset. Now, I'll move on just to another topic before we wrap it up. Scientists are claiming that we live in a simulator. This is not new, but it is becoming louder and louder out there, and more people are talking about it. And all I can say is, whoopity woo. Somebody just reinvented the wheel again, have they? This has been something that even when in 2000 I was studying at university, quantum physics, which means you put a cat in a box, close the lid, the cat no longer exists because you can't see it, you don't bring it into your reality. Only the scientist I was watching the other day was talking about, if I look away from the moon's not there. And he's basing this on, quantum physics, and he was talking about quantum computers, and I just think it's a load of shit. I really do. Because just because I'm not looking at the moon, there are probably another 6,000-7,000 people around the world looking at the moon. And because I'm not looking at it, it's not there. What his argument is that everything is perspective to ourselves. I suppose that's what his argument is. And it's lunatism. I don't buy into this quantum physics too much. I really don't. I think it's really naive to think so stupid like that. And I completely understand some other aspects of quantum physics. Like, everyone's going to argue the double slit experiment, where under observation it goes through one slit. When it's not being observed, the subatomic particle when fired, or the electron when fired through the electron gun at the slits, it chooses 2 when it's not observed. But when it's being observed, it chooses 1, which means that it is obviously aware of it being observed. And we can't even argue with that because it has been proven. That's one thing about quantum physics. But as for turning your back on the moon just because you can't see it, it disappears. I don't think that's true at all. But they're trying to reinvent the wheel again. This one thing, I will agree with one thing the scientists came out with, and that is that it's a mathematical universe. You can't deny it. For the fact that when we stand on the surface of this Earth and we look up at the moon during an eclipse of the sun, the moon is exactly the same size as the sun. And that is only because of the perspective of somebody standing on the surface of the Earth. Is that a coincidence, do you think? Okay, what about the fact that, if we was further away from the sun, most of the water on our planet would be in the form of ice. If we was closer to the sun, it would be in the form of gas. But where it is exactly right now is a perfect place called the Goldilocks zone, which means we got liquid. And without that liquid water, we wouldn't have the diverse range of biodiversity we enjoy on our planet today, including ourselves. And, if you look, I'm still on topic, by the way, of the mathematical universe. I'll just put things into perspective. If you look at all the times tables from 1 to 10, just focus on the times table 1 to 9. And I'm going to show you a quick video of this before I end it. Sorry, a quick description. I'm going to show you a photo. That's what I'm going to show you just before I end it, because I want you to see this. So, as an example, here's the 9 times table, and there isn't another times table that you can do this on. So look at the numbers, or more to the point, look at the answers. So 2 times 9 equals 18. Let's just add add the answer numbers up together. So 1 plus 8 equals 9. 3 times 9 equals 27. And again, 2 plus 7 equals 27. And then you can carry on going all the way down there. You're going to find that that is a pattern. But look what happens after 5 times 9. 5 times 9 is 45, and then we go under that red line. 6 times 9 is 54. Can you see what's happened to them two numbers, or the two answers? They've reversed. So 7 times 9 is 63. But if we go back up to 4 times 9, the answer is 36. The numbers have reversed. Again, 8 times 9, 72. Back up to 3 times 9 is 27. The numbers have reversed. This is the only times table you'll come across that does this. And just like the Earth being at the right distance in the Goldilocks zone, there is no coincidence there. Just like the Earth not being, the Earth being at a vantage point that when someone stands on the surface, we can see the moon covering the disk of the sun perfectly. Just like this 9 times table, making what you see there happen. Some people would say, well, that is the answer to that, isn't it? The mystery of, as above, so below. It may be so, is all I'm saying. But this universe that we live in is absolutely conscious, and that if you give me any number that represents any metallic solid, biological organism, just give me the number that represents it. I'll put it in the universal equation and I'll reduce it down to just two numbers. And somebody at NASA's had a look at this. They took it into the office and I was quite surprised. They'd never seen a simple equation like the universal equation reduce numbers down in such a manner to just two numbers. And that is any number at all. It'll either give one of two answers, and more commonly than not, it gives the answer 9, or less commonly, the 0. Guys, I was talking earlier about the fact that we have, nearly 60,000 subscribers now. In the last video, we had 22,000 people view the video, but still, in the last 2 days, we have had less than 10 people chip in a few bucks. And I just want to take the time out to say thank you to those that did. But the rest of them out there, I just want to say this. It is like, we know that 98% of the people haven't come across this information about all these anomalies taking place, more in particular the pole shift and the weakening magnetosphere. But then we end up with just 2% that have either, been informed by myself, and I don't think I've informed that many, even 2%. I don't think I'm responsible for that, but, there are other places that can get this information from. I do believe that there is probably 2%. I'm hoping there's 2%. But even out of those 2%, people were still, even though they've been gifted with the information, they still let their kids play out in the solar rays. Let's just call it what it is. That's exactly what they're doing, because we've got a 25% reduction in the field strength that protects us. So you are allowing your kids to play out in radiation. Let's call it what it is. But even that very small amount of the 2% that watch the video, only a very fraction of that 2% actually have took it on board and are doing something proactive. And I bet you it is probably just the few people, like we see, less than 10 out of 22,000 that chip in a few bucks for this observatory, that are the ones that are looking after the kids on the back of the information we've provided. You know what? It is such a small number, and it's very sad that more people don't support good causes. But there you go. It's the world we live in, guys. Lots of things to get your mind around today in this video. We're going to do an Earth Alpha at a glance tomorrow, so please join us for that. Only one other thing to say, isn't there, guys? Take care of your loved ones. And before I say bye for now, I'm going to say there's a link in the description. Make a simple effort. As always, bye for now.